Yo, welcome back everybody to a brand new video here on the second channel, and today we're going to look at every single deck that got day 2 at the San Antonio Regionals. Of course, San Antonio was the largest regional of all time, having 1,900 players, so that means the day 2 is going to be pretty massive. We're going to have a lot of decks to look at here and kind of go over and kind of figure out where the meta is. Of course, the next major regionals isn't until like next year, so we do have a bit of time until the next big tournament, but it is still important to look at where the meta is because, of course, we're going to be in this Paradox meta for quite a while until rotation, which is probably going to be at EUIC in April, and that's when the next main set comes out. So we're going to have a bit of a wait until all that drops, but it's going to be time to look at what decks did well in this tournament, what people played. There were some pretty interesting decks in day 2. There were some cool archetypes that did end up getting day 2 that I am excited to take a look at and kind of review their list. Before we get in the video, if y'all are new here to the second channel, make sure to subscribe down below. We are on the road to 10,000 subscribers here, and we're getting close. And also leave a like if you want to enjoy. But yeah, let's take a look at all the day 2 decks from San Antonio. So starting things off, of course, we have the winning deck, Azul, winning with his Charizard EX deck. Now, Charizard EX is probably the best deck now in the format. I think after winning the tournament, I think we can all agree Charizard is the best deck in the format at the moment. It seems to be the strongest, and of course, I think this 60 here is pretty good. Being able, I guess we can move this over, being able to abuse Charizard EX, which just is a very good attacker right now. It had a good Miraidon matchup. I would say Charizard's not bad into Gardevoir. Its matchup spread is definitely pretty solid in my opinion. And it seemed like the call for the tournament. And as you can see, this build here is pretty straightforward. It does play the normal stuff you'd see. Not playing any Avery, opting for 4 Arven, 3 Boss Iona 1 Research over the Avery we've been seeing in the Charizard decks now. And then, of course, it is playing a Justified Gloves, which is actually really good in the Mirror match because you're able to do 330 damage when the Charizard player takes 4 prizes. So, like, no matter what you're doing, like a one-shot of Charizard, because you're either going to go down to 1 prize remaining, or they're going to go down to 4 prize remaining, and then you're going to be able to one-shot the Charizard no matter what in the Mirror match. So definitely a very interesting 60. Double counter catcher is also pretty interesting, considering, you know, most Zard lists will play like 1 counter catcher. This build ended up playing 2. And I do like the stadium counts, actually. Artisan's really good to set up. Collapse Stadium's nice to get your Rotom off the board, and then the Lost City can be really good into Gardevoir and Lost Box. Second place, we do have Giratina, which at first it seems like it's supposed to be favored against Charizard, right? We all can think that, like, oh yeah, Giratina, it's supposed to have a favored Charizard matchup because it's Giratina, right? It beats Charizard because Giratina has Path, has Roxanne, it's got an insta-KO attack, it's got Sableye. How does this not beat Charizard? Well, we did see Giratina lose to Charizard in the finals there, which ironically enough, Grant just needed to hit the Giratina V-Star off of a Roxanne double Comfey, so that was like 10 cards Grant saw and was not able to find the Giratina to close the game out. So it was close for sure. And I think Giratina is still favored against Charizard in most scenarios. Obviously, Azul is just a really good player, and the match was very close regardless. Like, it came down to literally just hitting a Giratina off of like a 10-card draw find. So it's kind of crazy, but overall, Giratina definitely is still a very powerful deck right now. It definitely has one of the better Charizard matchups, I think. Like, going forward, if Charizard's going to continue to be this popular, I think Giratina is still like a pretty solid deck to beat it. Surprisingly enough, we have a Palkia in top 4. I definitely like Palkia right now. I considered it myself. I was actually on the fence about potentially playing Palkia to this tournament too, because I think Palkia is actually a low-key underrated deck right now. I think it's actually got great matchups. The one matchup that is really tricky, though, is going to be Charizard. Charizard is very hard to beat, mainly because Palkia just doesn't really have a good way to knock Charizards out. I mean, the best thing you have is the Shempow, but, like, it's tough because if you just take, like, 1 prize, Charizard can go, like, Vitality Band, knock out Shempow. And, like, you're two-shotting the Charizards with the Palkia, but it's just not enough, because, like, Palkia gets one shot at some point in the match anyways, especially when they're playing Vitality Band. The best thing you have is Spiritomb to slow them down. The matchup is tough, though. But I was going to play a Vulpix V-Star in the deck to counter Charizard, because a lot of the Zard lists were cutting Escape Rope, so Vulpix V-Star technically can beat Charizard. So that was on my like idea list of what I was going to play. Was Palkia. I was actually considering bringing Palkia, but I ended up going with Mew, obviously, but Palkia was on my agenda, and I'm happy to see it get top 4. I do think the deck is actually really powerful. I think outside of having a tough Charizard matchup, I think it's pretty good against most other decks right now, and I think it was a pretty good meta call to play Palkia for this tournament. I'm a big fan of it. We, of course, got Grant in top 4, basically with the exact same 60 as Azul with the Charizard. Once again, just showing that Charizard had a really good weekend. We do, of course, have Cal getting top 8 with Snorlax. Snorlax actually could have won the tournament. If Cal hit either Charizard deck, I think Cal was positioned to potentially win the tournament. But obviously, Cal was unable to win in his top 8 match. He ended up playing against Giratina, which is obviously one of Snorlax's worst matchups. And yeah, Cal went like 9-0 day 1 with this deck. Snorlax is definitely a force to be reckoned with. I think it was a really good meta call for San Antonio, just because there was so much Charizard. Charizard was like 18% of the day 1 meta, so it makes sense why, Snorlax did so well in the tournament. And of course, we got another Tina in top 8 here. This one does play an Avery in the deck, and no Iono, but double Roxanne. And then, of course, we had a Miraidon in top 8. This one is the Peony Miraidon deck. So, surprisingly enough, the build that we all consider to be the worst way to play Miraidon got top 8 over all the Miraidon decks. It was the Peony Turbo Energy build, playing 16 energy. Just trying to get those turn 1 hands off as fast as possible to assert dominance. Makes sense. And then finally, there was a second Snorlax deck in top 8. This one was a bit different. It was playing Pidgeot, Luxray, Mawile. There's a bit more going on. The idea of Pidgeot, though, is that Pidgeot is really good when you set it up, because being able to get any card you want, especially when you're playing a control archetype, is very, very deadly and very powerful. Luxray is really good. It gets rid of the switches and the Turos that are hiding in the opponent's hand. It can be a very disruptive card, especially when combined with Bravery Charm. It makes it kind of bulky. It's a pretty interesting 60. Obviously, you have Cal with like the more just straightforward Snorlax deck, and then you had Hale playing a more disruptive control deck here. But I think both builds of control are valid. I think the Pidgeot one is maybe a bit harder to play because there's more going on, but I do think this one is also very strong too. Outside the top 8, we do, of course, have Rapid Strike, another deck that was really well positioned for this tournament. I was surprised we didn't see a Rapid Strike in top 8, because I thought that this deck was a really good meta call for the tournament. It did get 9th place, so of course Landon here getting 9th place with the Rapid Strike deck, and it's a pretty, straightforward 60 with the Squawk, the Medicham, the TM Devolution. The big talk of the town was that a lot of the Zardlists were playing Tool Jammer to counter TM Devo, but of course we saw the 2 Zardlists in top 8 were not playing Tool Jammer, so I don't know. But yeah, it's surprising Rapid Strike didn't get top 8. I guess it maybe bubbled. Yeah, I think it was a bubble, actually. So we have another Pidgeot Snorlax deck here outside of top 8 here, which is kind of crazy to see. Of course, this deck definitely is very powerful when you get the Pidgeot up, and the Luxray is really good too. I think Luxray is a very strong card in Snorlax because, again, being able to like remove cards from your opponent's hand that they're trying to use is like kind of crazy. Like getting rid of Turos and switches and stuff is actually very strong. Another Miraidon here. This one is another Peony build. This one does have an Iono, but no research. But yeah, it's Peony with 18 energy. So, surprisingly enough, the 2 best performing Miraidon decks at San Antonio were the Peony build. The one that everyone kind of wrote off as like, okay, it was a one-time thing in LAIC, and apparently it's good. We do have back-to-back Fusion Mew decks here, which I thought, was a good call for the tourney. I, of course, played it myself. This build does play a bit more. It's got the Deoxys, has an Ice Q in the deck, a 4-2 Mew. I'm not sold on the Deoxys. I do like the idea of Deoxys, though, but I'm not super sold on it. This one does play the Turo, the Box of Disaster, Double Judge, Double Path. Pretty nice 60. Again, the split of like all the one prize attackers is nice, though. We have another Fusion Mew here. This one, once again, just playing the Ice Cube Meloetta, 2 Path, 2 Judge, the Iono. It does play the Box of Disaster. And then we move on here. We have our first Lost Box deck, and this one is the super effective Glasses Lost Zone deck that we saw last weekend. So really cool 60 here, playing the Tropius still, incorporating Mew into the deck. I don't think Mew is in the original build of the deck, but Mew actually can be good against like Rapid Strike, right? You can copy Urshifu with super effective Glasses, and Mew's just a really good attacker in general in a lot of matchups. And then, of course, you still have like the Broy Moon, the Moltres, the Raikou, the Iron Hands, the Minior, the Tropius. Really cool 60. This was the best performing Lost Zone deck, which is cool. Well, Lost Box deck, not the Giratina was, but you got my point. The best performing Lost Box deck was the super effective Glasses Lost Box deck. So that's really cool to see. We got another Mew deck. This one is double Turbo Mew, but it is playing a 1 of Fusion Energy, which can be really helpful against Spiritomb, and even stuff like Rapid Strike it can be good against. And then, of course, we have yet another Rapid Strike in top 16. Again, a deck that I thought could have maybe went all the way, or at the very least got top 16. I guess it would have struggled, or top 8, sorry. I guess it would have struggled in top 8 just because of all the Snorlax we saw in top 8, which obviously wouldn't have been a good thing for the Rapid Strike deck. We do have a Guardy outside the top 16 here. Looks like a pretty traditional Guardy list, playing the Luxurious Cape Screamtail. No Zacian V in the deck, but is playing Avery, playing Worker, playing Turo. We got an Entei Valiant deck doing pretty well, too. Another deck that was, like, kind of well positioned for this tournament. I think really well the Charizard. It could have been tough for the deck to do well. It does, of course, play the Technical Machine Devolution, but sometimes it's not enough to beat Charizard, especially when you only have the one vacuum if they do play Tool Jammer. But I do like Entei Valiant still. It's still not a bad deck. Is it worse than Rapid Strike? Potentially, it's not as clunky as Rapid Strike, but it's still, I mean, it can go back and forth, but it is still cool to see the deck have a decent placement in the tourney. We got another Charizard here. It's Caleb playing basically the same 60. Azul and Graham were playing. We got Christian Labella with the Double Turbo Mew Hammers deck. He lost the win-in on stream to Charizard, which is one of the matchups actually where the Hammers are supposed to be helpful in. Because basically what you want to do is you can like go Judge Path, play Crushing Hammer, remove energy off Charizard, and Charizard only plays like, 7 energy, 8 energy. So a lot of the time, if they can't get energy and play with the Charizard's ability, they can't attach energy for turn, they're under Path Lock, they struggle to attack you. That's the idea of the Crushing Hammer. It did Labella pretty well. He got all the way to the win-in, unfortunately losing to Grant. But yeah, Mew definitely still having a good performance this weekend. Like I predicted, the deck was still a decent call for the tourney. Another Rapid Strike here, doing pretty good here. We can move on. All right, we're going to try to skim through most of these decks that are like kind of similar because we've seen them all. The big surprise was a Lugia deck actually getting top 32. So Lugia, I think, is falling off. I mean, it's definitely on the downswing right now. Single Strike's kind of non-existent. But we do see a Lugia Vessel Hands deck getting top 32. That's exciting. This build does have a lot of different attackers. It's got the Iron Hands. It's got the Radiant Charizard. It's also playing a one of Shaman V, which is actually a really smart inclusion. Shaman V can one-hit KO Charizard EX in the late game. It does play that one of Luminous Energy. So the idea behind Shaman is if you attach a basic energy to it and then you put the Luminous Energy on, you can actually attack with the Shaman V here to knock out Charizard in one hit. It's also got Mew as an attacker, and then, of course, Iron Hand's good in the early game. I do like the idea of Lugia right now. I think Lugia is still kind of underrated. Like, I don't think it's, like, completely dead. Like, I don't think Lugia is, like, a terrible deck. I do think it struggles, but if you can kind of work around the Zard matchup, I think Lugia is good. I actually think Lugia is better than people are maybe giving it credit for right now. I definitely am a fan of Lugia. We'll have to see where it goes going forward. See if that, kind of goes anywhere. We do see another Tina here. Again, lost Tina pretty straightforward. 60 there. Got another Rapid Strike doing pretty good. I mean, there's a lot of Rapid Strike like outside of the top 8. Just wasn't as many, in the top 8 like I predicted. There's another Guardy with the Scream Tail, the Luxurious Cape. Might be, it does play Zacian. I was about to say it might be the same 60 as before, but it's not. It is similar, though. Definitely similar. Another lost Tina playing the 2 Water Energy. We see Bradner playing the Tina deck, which she's been playing for a while, I think. We got Xander here playing Fusion Mew. Once again, playing the Meloetta and the Ice Cube. Playing a Turo and Box. Yeah, pretty straightforward. Fusion Mew, 60 there. We got Alan here. My friend Alan at Broad Guardy did get top 32. And this build, another pretty conventional build. Playing the Scream Tail, the Zacian, the double Avery, 2 Candy, stuff like that. Double Avery, the 4 Research, or 4 Iono, 1 Research, stuff like that. You get another Charizard here. Looks like it's pretty similar to what Azul played. Not the exact 60. It's not playing the double counter catcher, but it does play the gloves, does play the Vitality Band, the double Lost City over the Artisan, but still playing the Collapse Stadium. And yeah, there you go. Another Charizard. Again, Charizard having a banner performance this weekend. We do see a Lost Zone Radiant Charizard Moon deck here. So this one is not this. It's not the same deck as what we saw in Stuttgart, but it is still kind of the similar idea. You have the Radiant Zard, the Sableye Cram, but you do have the idea or the ability to play the Roaring Moon, which can be really good into Charizard EX. It's not playing TM Evolution, as you can see. It does rely a bit more on the Roaring Moon, but Roaring Moon is still very strong in this type of deck, especially if like you play Clara and Rod. You can like Clara the Moon back and then Rod Energy go Mirage Gate. It's got the Pidgeot Force Seal package in the deck, so you can still get a V-Star power. I like this 60, and I'm still a fan of the Radiant Zard Lost Zone deck. I think it's pretty good still. We've got 2 Charizards back-to-back here. See, this one is playing Tool Jammer. As you can see, there is Tool Jammer in the 60. That was the big talk of the town, was that everybody was playing Charizard this weekend with Tool Jammer. And it looks like the highest placing Tool Jammer Zard deck was, of course, outside here in the top 32. Just in the top 32, right? And then, of course, we got another Tool Jammer Zard deck here outside of top 32. And then we got another Miraidon. Again, Miraidon doing pretty good this weekend. This one is a Peony build. Oh, my gosh. Yeah, 3 Peony Miraidon decks. So we haven't seen like a more traditional Miraidon yet. We've just been seeing the Peony build before, which is kind of crazy. This one's cool. I see a Roaring Moon Giratina deck. I've actually kind of been looking at this deck myself. I like the idea of playing Roaring Moon with Tina. There is some synergy between the two. You basically get 2 Star Requiems in a game. You get some dark type coverage. I actually am a big fan of this type of deck, and it's something maybe I'm going to experiment with myself. But I do like the 60. Giratina is still very strong again with how popular Charizard will be. It's definitely not a bad play going forward. And yeah, the idea of playing Roy Moon and Tina is definitely really cool, and I'm a fan of that. I like it. And we got another Miraidon. Is it going to be another Peony? It is yet another Peony Miraidon deck. Wow, Peony Miraidon just doing numbers this week. And that's actually crazy that we haven't seen like a more traditional list. Got another Snorlax stall deck here with the one of Crabominable. Another Charizard here, playing the double Tool Jammer. Not playing any gloves or Vitality Band, but instead playing the Defiance Band, the double Lost City. No Avery either. So we're starting to see the Zards cut the Averys, which is something that they were playing before. We got another Lost Tina. Sawyer on the Lost Tina here. We got more DTMU. This one playing the Grabber and the Luxray package. Of course, Luxray being able to remove a supporter from the hand after you judge them, and then you can also Grabber or Pokemon away. Basically, just lock your opponent out of the game, put them in top deck mode, to try to run them over with Mew or whatever. Pretty strong deck, and definitely is a scary deck to play against if you are playing something like Charizard. This deck can be pretty hard to beat sometimes when they can get the lock off quick enough. Another Tina here, and then we got an Arc deck. Now, this is where things get crazy. There was an Arceus Regigigas deck in day 2. Actually, 2 of them. Both Stratfords played the Arc Regigigas deck. Now, this deck is interesting. So, Arc Piles, I actually was, I was thinking about, I'm like, is Arc dead right now? I don't think it is. I actually think Arc was okay for this tournament. Obviously, Miraidon, Tina, not the greatest matchups, but I do think that Arc isn't in the worst spot right now. I think if you wanted to play an Arc deck, you just dodge Miraidon or Tina. Well, okay, Miraidon's not unwinnable, but Tina for sure is bad. But if you just, dodge bad matchups, you're probably still doing okay with Arc. I mean, Arc is still a good deck, in my opinion. And the interesting development was the idea of playing it with Regigigas. Now, I'm not 100% sure what the Gigas V-Star was really for. It doesn't really do anything special. It does have a cool V-Star power where during your turn, if your opponent has exactly 1 prize remaining, you may choose one of your opponent's bench Pokemon, discard that Pokemon, all cards attached to it. Now, I don't think that Regigigas V-Star is, useful for the V-Star power in this deck, because, it is strong, but, all the time, you have to do Starbirth, right? I've seen Regigigas in, Lost Zone Kyogre decks, so they, Star Guardian at the Manaphy off the board, and then they go, Kyogre for game. It does have an attack with Giga Impact doing 230. I think that might be the main reason why the Giga saw play. It has 230 damage, right? It's KOing most EXs, Roaring Moon, Miraidon, and it has 300 HP. It is extremely bulky. If you put a V-Guard energy on it, obviously it's got more tank, and of course it is Charon's Care compatible. I think that was one of the selling points of it is, yeah, it works with Charon's Care. Regigigas V has a lot of bulk too. It's got that get angry type attack where if it takes damage, you can hit back hard and knock them out for not killing you. I think that's the idea behind the Regigigas, but it's cool to see the Regigigas Arc deck do well with the double Charon's Care, the Avery being in the deck. Really interesting 60, and I'm always happy to see an Arc Pile do well, and it's a unique Arc Pile deck. More Charizard here, once again playing the gloves and the Vitality Band. Might be the same 60 what Azul played. We do see Vance Kelly here with the Fusion Mew deck with the the Double Turbo Mew, sorry, with the one of Fusion Energy here in the deck. So that's interesting. Another Zard here. Again, Zard just had a blowout weekend. It was just everywhere. It was the most played deck. Not surprising to see so many of them. And then, of course, more Rapid Strike doing pretty good. And then we see a Lost Tina doing pretty well, too. And Tina was another pretty solid play for this tournament. I think Tina, Rapid Strike, and Zard were the 3 best decks you could have played, realistically. Looking at how the meta played out, those 3 were the decks that I think were always going to be the best ones to bring to the tournament. More Zard here with the double Tool Jammer. Will the Jammer carry over into our future kind of format here? We'll see. Another Snorlax doing pretty good. We do have a Roaring Moon here, which is awesome to see in day 2. Roaring Moon definitely, again, a deck that I think is kind of on the bubble of being potentially good. This one is the turbo build with the capsules, the water energy, Radiant Greninja combo. Playing the town stores too. Even similar, I think, to the one that we saw at Stuttgart. Got another Zard. This one's a Bibarel Zard, so not the Pidgey Zard deck, playing the Bibarel Zard this time with the TM Evolution. It's playing at one of Delphox V. It's playing Genergies and stuff. That's pretty interesting. So yeah, cool 60. I mean, the Delphox definitely can cheese a win, right? A lot of the time you're playing a Zard, you're not benching Manaphy, and that's where the Delphox V can be pretty deadly. Of course, we got another Rapid Strike, and then past that, we have another Lost Tina. We have another Lost Zone Super Effective Glasses deck, so That's cool to see people playing the Glasses Lost Box deck. Again, not a bad deck. I mean, the Tropius definitely could have been good this weekend with all the Zard running around. Yeah, pretty cool 60. Again, definitely a really interesting way to play Lost Box. And not playing any Sableye in the deck, I think, was rightfully a good idea because I think Jirachi was just way too popular this weekend to really warrant wanting to play something like, heavy Sableye. We got another Arc deck, and it is, again, the Arc Gigas deck. Looks like the same 60 as before, because it was both Stratfords with the 60. But this one's kind of cool. Again, the Regigigas is a really cool idea and a really cool addition to the Arc deck here. Another Miraidon. Is it going to be Peony? It is indeed a Peony. Wow. So the more traditional Miraidon deck has just been non-existent. Oh, man, that's crazy. I don't know what happened, man. Where are they at? We got back-to-back Moon decks, which is interesting to see here. This one is the Moon with the 1/1 Darkrai V-Star. And then we have yet another Roaring Moon deck here. This one playing Iron Hands and Thornton. Okay, wow, that is the technology. Of course, you can build up energy on Roaring Moon or Moltres or whatever, and then Thornton it into an Iron Hands at some point in the game, and then obviously do Ampy very much. It's a little bit of a gimmick, and you can't do Thornton and Sod in the same turn, but it is an interesting concept in theory, and I mean, it catch a lot of people off guard, and I'm sure that did get this player a lot of wins with the addition of the Iron Hands Thornton combo. That's a really cool idea. Another Arc Pile. This one is not Arc Gigas. It is an Arctina Superior deck, which I don't think was a bad call for the tourney either. I mean, Arctina's been a decent deck. And then, of course, you got the addition of the Superior in the deck, which is a 2/2 line. So really leaning into the Superior, really trying to just fix the Charizard matchup. I do think that when you have 3 Judge, 4 Iono, 3 Path, and the Superior, you're probably having a decent run against Charizard, in my opinion, because you do have so much heavy, attacking options and pressure. You got the Path, you got the double Superior to deal with 2 Charizards, which is kind of cute. Definitely a really interesting concept, and with all the Charizard we saw in the room, it definitely wasn't the worst play you can make. Another Peony Miraidon deck. Wow, Peony Miraidon just dominating, which is just crazy to me. Oh, wait, we just looked at that. What am I saying? Lol. My bad. We just looked at that deck. I got confused. But yeah, we got another Guardy with the Luxurious Cape, the Scream Tail, triple Reversal Energy too. Got another Zard, playing the Double Jammer once again, proving that it is really good. More Rapid Strike stuff. Again, a lot of these 60s are going to be pretty similar. We will just try to skim through most of these because we've kind of seen them all. There's Zard here. Playing the Entei. I still like the Entei. I don't hate Entei in Zard. I think Rotom might just be better now going forward, but Entei still isn't terrible to have, in my opinion, within the deck. Got another Rapid Strike, and then another Fusion Mew with the Acelgor. So this build does have actually a lot of attackers. It's got Acelgor, Ice Cube, and Meloetta. It's also playing catchers, too. Trying to be more annoying. I guess the one thing with this deck is it's not playing any Judge. It's actually just playing Turo and 1 Iono. So no Judge in the deck. That's interesting to see. Yeah, the Acelgor's not bad. Again, it does help a lot against Charizard. We got another Roaring Moon here. Another Turbo Roaring Moon. So there were some Roaring Moons in the top 64 of the tournament. There wasn't really any out. So let's actually bubbled out top 64. Got 65th place. But there's still a lot of Roaring Moon kind of in that general area in this tournament. More Zard. Another Zard. We'll skim through some of these. This one playing Entei too, and Radiant Zard. Oh, it's a Bibarel Zard deck, actually. So it's not Pidgey Zard. It is Bibzard. Bibzard's not terrible still. It is the weaker version, I think, of Pidgeot, but it's still, not bad, in my opinion. Bibzard can still get the job done. Another Guardy. Of course, just Gardevoir being Gardevoir. And then we got another Snorlax, Stalvon. Playing, I think, the same 60 as Cal. Yeah, probably. And then we got another Zard Pidgey deck here with the double Tool Jammer, the Menace. And then we got Christian running it back with the deck he used to win Sukar with the Radiant Zard deck here, the Sable Zard deck, whatever you want to call it. Unfortunately, he was not able to win back-to-back regionals. That would have been sick. But yeah, Sable Zard wasn't a bad call for the tourney. I know it just came off of a regional win, which did give it a lot of hype, but still, it still can beat Charizard. I mean, you still have the TM Devos. The Jirachi is only, the big problem the deck faces, but with the double counter catcher, it can be dealt with. And I think that it wasn't a bad call for the tourney either, in general, in my opinion. It was still a decent deck. I mean, Miraidon was still pretty popular. Couple more Zards. This one does play a Radiant Serena in the deck, which is interesting. It's playing Serena and Jirachi. I'm not sure what matchup the Serena is supposed to help in, because you have Jirachi. Your Sableye matchup isn't that bad. Or maybe it is there for Sableye. I'm not sure. The Serena's definitely interesting. I'm not sure what matchup that's really for. I mean, Rapid Strike. Okay, it's for Rapid Strike. What am I saying? Yes. It's the Rapid Strike tech. Yes. That's my bad. It's for Rapid Strike. Yes. Now I realized. Yeah, Rapid Strike. It's there to be Rapid Strike. Speaking of Rapid Strike, we got another Rapid Strike deck here to look at. And then we got another Snorlax stall deck playing Crabominable. Again, Snorlax was a good call of the tourney. I'm not surprised it did well because there were so many Charizard decks, and Zard doesn't really have a way to beat Snorlax, even with the Turo, which is sometimes not enough. was a double turbo Mew, playing a Roxanne and an Iono, so a bit more on the hand disruption side, a bit more traditionalist, no grabbers or hammers or anything. We got my friend Marvin here playing the Miraidon deck. This one is not Peony Miraidon. It's just a more traditional Miraidon deck. It still does have Arvins and Research. No Peony. It doesn't play a whole lot of draw, though. I mean, only double Research, but Marvin did have a pretty good run this tournament, so it was pretty cool to see that. We got another Zard here with the Radiant Serena. Yeah, I guess Serena was like the best tech option for the Rapid Strike matchup over maybe the Tool Jammer, or maybe even just having both just makes that matchup even harder to lose against. Got another Rapid Strike here. And then, of course, moving on, we got more Tinas. Yeah, we'll skim through some of these, because, again, some of these 60s are going to look pretty similar. Another Rapid Strike, yeah. This one playing TM Evolution. I actually don't hate that. TM Evolution isn't terrible. It immediately allows you to get the VMAXs in play, which can help in matchups where your opponent can, like, chase down the 2 prizes really easily. I actually don't hate that idea, to be honest. That's not terrible. I don't hate it. We do see a Lost Box deck, and it is the Kyogre Dragonite deck here, but it still has, like, Maroon Moon and Iron Hand, so still more technology in the deck. I don't hate it, though. I was saying that Dragonite was kind of on the cusp for a revive, and my prediction was that it might have been able to do like a top 16 run. Unfortunately, we didn't see Dragonite get top 16. We did still see one person with the Dragonite deck here in day 2, playing the Kyogre, playing the Maroon Moon and the Iron Hands, and whatnot. Another Miraidon. Here we go. This is a more traditional Miraidon deck, of course, playing the Path, playing the Ionos, the Judge, the Researches, and stuff. This is the more traditional Miraidon. It's crazy to see Peony Miraidon do so well this tourney and being the one that like dominated. We see another really cool Lost Box deck played by Piper here with a Groudon. So Groudon's definitely an interesting card to play. We can quickly read what Groudon does here. It does have the attack Magma Purge. You can discard up to 4 energy from your Pokemon, does 60 damage for each card discarded in this way. Essentially, it's just a fighting Pokemon that can one-shot Iron Hands. That's the idea behind playing Groudon. And it also can be a really good attack in general. I mean, being able to do potentially 240 damage out of nowhere is really strong. And I definitely don't hate the idea of it. And we do see Piper had a decent run with the deck here, getting day 2 with it. So, still cool to see. More Fusion Mew doing pretty good. We can... I once had Psychic Energy in it. Okay, wow, that was a Psychic Energy build. Interesting. That does actually help against Snorlax, so you play around Giacomo, which is nice. Got another Rapid Strike here. We got another Lost Box deck, and this one, again, playing at the Dragonite. It's Turbo Lost Box. Actually, very standard Turbo Lost Box deck, because it doesn't play any Paradox Pokemon. Just strictly sticking to, like, Dragonite, Raikou, and Drapion, which is interesting, for sure. We got our Shenpao in day 2, piloted by Jared. I mean, Jared is, like, one of the biggest Shenpao stands right now. And I was like, I even said, I'm like, it's going to be somebody's going to play Shenpao and get day 2 with it, who's a Shenpao stand. And look at that. It happened. And we see Jared have, actually, he went like 7-1 into day 2. So he wasn't able to, like, kind of capitalize on that and do as well in day 2, obviously. But Shenpao wasn't, like, the worst deck in the tournament. Actually, with the amount of Zard, it actually might have been a decent call, considering how much Zard there really was in the tourney. Right? So it makes sense. We got another Zard with the Serena. Couple of Lost Box decks here. We got Clifton getting day 2. Congrats to Clifton for the day 2 with the Tina deck. That's awesome. 3 Charizards back-to-back. Again, just a lot of Charizard in day 2. It was like the blowout deck, the deck that just dominated. We're just going to quickly look through all of these 60s here. This one was a Bibzard deck, though. It wasn't the Pidgeysard. It was a Bibzard deck. We got another Tina deck here to look at real quick. Just skim through that. Another Rapid Strike deck. And then we got 2 more Zards. Like, a lot of Zard. Playing the Delphox and the Rotom in the deck. Interesting. Again, Delphox can cheese out a win, because the opponent might not see it coming. Especially maybe in, like, the mirror or something, right? Could be good. Another Rotom Zard deck here. Another Guardy. Jake Gearhart. Oh, my God. So this is where things get crazy. So, randomly, this day 2 had 2 of the most random V-Stars we would have expected to see in day 2. There's a Regigigas V-Star and a Deoxys V-Star in day 2 of the San Antonio Regionals. Who would have thought? They're probably like, why is Jake playing a 1-1 Deoxys in the deck? What on earth does that do? Why would that be good in Gardevoir? Well, it's actually really good against Iron Hand. So that's the attack Star Force. It's V-Star power. Does 60 damage for each energy attached to both active Pokemon. So if your opponent goes Iron Hands against you turn 2, you just make sure you can go Deoxys, and then you just Star Force knock it out. Because they're going to have 4 energy on. You're going to have 1 energy on. That is going to one-hit KO the Iron Hands. And that's basically why Jake played it. It was just there for the Iron Hands EX matchup. It doesn't really do anything else. I mean, it's not bad. I guess Psychic Javelin could be like, okay, if they don't bench Manaphy, like, funny enough. But it's just there to KO Iron Hands in 1 hit, right, with Star Force. Really cool idea. Again, I would not have predicted to see a Deoxys and a Regigigas V-Star in day 2 of San Antonio. But here we are, man. That's crazy to me. So congrats to Jake for just getting, I mean, 100th place, but still, it's awesome to see, like, that idea. If Miraidon was a bit more dominant this tournament, I think this actually would have gone a lot better, obviously. So it's cool to see nonetheless. got like Rapid Strike with the TM Evo again. Got another Zard here. We'll skim through that. Got the Tina deck. Got the DT Mew with the Crushing Hammers. Crushing Hammer Mew. There's two of them now we've looked at. Another Guardy with the, wait, that's Jake. Oh, wait, what the heck? I'm looking at the same decks. Why am I doing that? Okay, I apologize. I looked at the same deck again. Oops, we got Tina. It's just like this. The decks are just like they're so repeated. I just like keep clicking on the same ones. That's my bad, I guess. More Guardy. Probably going to be the only Guardy Deoxys deck we see in day 2, but it's still awesome to see. Got another Snorlax with the Crabominable. Another Fusion Mew. Playing the Deoxys, not the Ice Cube, but opting for the Deoxys instead, which is kind of cute. Another Lost Tina here with the waters. We got 3 Zards back-to-back again. We're just going to click on these real quick, just see if there's anything cool going on, and then just kind of skim through them. Because, again, a lot of the Zards are just the same thing. This one playing the Minior. Help a little bit against Snorlax. Another Palkia day 2. Not the same 60 we saw in top 4, but still, it's awesome to see Palkia day 2. Again, I was a believer of this deck. Again, it's something that I myself even considered bringing to the tournament. And looking back, I'm still glad I played Mew. I just obviously had a lot of bad matchups, but Palkia is definitely like a deck that I wish I kind of played too. You never know. It's still awesome to see it get day 2. Nonetheless, we got more Guardy. We got another Lost Tina. Another Fusion Mew playing the Ice Cube and the Meloetta. I haven't seen a Mew deck yet play the TM Diva. We'll have to see if that ends up coming up. I did hear a few people were in day 2 with it. We got another Tina Moon deck. Again, I'm a really cool, really cool. I'm a big fan of this idea. I think it's a really cool idea. That's what I meant to say. Lol. Sorry, my brain is just scrambled. Again, I just got back, bro. I'm still like a little like out of it. But we do see the Peony Miraidon deck here once again. More Peony Miraidon than like the standard Judge Iono Miraidon decks. That's just kind of crazy to me in my, like, I don't know. That's just crazy. Got more DT Mew. Couple DT Mews, one playing the Hammers and the Fusion Energy, and the other just playing the Luxray. Another Miraidon. All right, here we go. Another traditional Miraidon deck with the researches and the Ionos and stuff. Another Mew here. Ian, I actually played against Ian. Yeah. He's got the TM Devo. Yeah. So there you go. I played against Ian round 1 of the tournament in the Mew Mirror. Another, here we go. Miraidon. More traditional Miraidon deck with the Ionos and stuff. I guess the Peony build was like better into like Zard. I mean, would it be better, though, because you don't have the Path of Disruption? I don't know. I just can't get over the fact that, like, Peony Miraidon had the best performance this weekend over the other decks, right? That's just crazy to me. That's crazy, bro. Another Tina. And then we see another Palkia here in day 2. There's 3 Palkia in day 2. This one looks pretty similar to the 60 from Gdansk, I think it was. Yeah, so that's cool to see. Yeah, it's nice to see all these Palkias in day 2. What, 3 of them so far? It's cool to see. I love to see it. Get another Guardy. More Mews. More double turbo Mew with Luxray. We got another Mew here with the Fusion Energy. Then we got a Charizard Arc deck. So interesting to see. I mean, again, Charizard was good for this tournament, so I'm not surprised to still see an Arc Zard in day 2. Again, not the build we see anymore, but RC still has its benefits. It can be a good early game attacker. It gets you Zard out really easily when you have access to Starbirth. So yeah, cool to see that. Still kind of living. The Arc Zard deck still living. Another Zard with the Serena. Got another Entei Valiant. Only 2 in day 2. This one's playing a 1 of Serena in the deck here. Interesting to see. Entei Valiant not doing too bad. Didn't play any TM Devos, which is, I think, pretty iffy, right? You playing against Zard, not having TM Devo definitely could be a bit of an issue for sure. We got Rapid Strike, of course, in day 2. Again, we got more Tina. I mean, we've seen them all before, right? We've seen all the lists. Yeah, we got another Fusion Mew with that 1 of TM at Devo, and playing Cleansing Gloves, too, and Town Store. A bit kind of splitting the difference between everything going on. It's got Ice Cube, Gloves, Techno Machine, Devo, Belt, Path, Town Store, and Lost City, all in one. Another Guardy. And then we can go here. We got another Zard. And then we can go to another Miraidon. Regan playing the Miraidon. Again, traditional Miraidon with the Fortune Energy and the Ionos and the researches. Not going in the Turbo. Another Tina. And then we got some more Lost Zone box decks. This one is the Glasses deck. So it looks like the popular way to play the Comfy deck this weekend that wasn't Tina was going to be the Glasses build of Lost Box. We are seeing quite a few of them in day 2 already. We got 2 of them here. Well, not 2 of them, but we got another Radiant Charizard Lost Zone deck with Roy Moon and Iron Hands this time, actually swapping Sableye out of the deck in favor of playing the 1 of Iron Hands, which is not bad either. Not a bad replacement to have either. Got more Guardian day 2, another Fusion Mew with the Techno Machine Evolution. Again, that technology, baby. The technology. We got another Miraidon here. Again, more traditional Miraidon deck with the Judges and the Paths. Not playing the Peonies, the crazy Peony builds. And then we're seeing more Grabber Mew. And then we have another Mew. It was another, it was a few double turbo Mew, but still that TM Devo in the deck. Another Roy Moon in day 2 here with the Water Energy, the Turbo Roy Moon. Wasn't surprised to see a couple of those in day 2. I think it'll have its breakthrough eventually, in my opinion. So just waiting for that time to be right. We got 3 Zards. Again, just so many Zards in day 2. This one did play a Pidgeotto and TM Evo. So I was trying to capitalize on getting the Pidgeot and play with that rare candy using TM Devo instead. Or TM Evo instead, sorry, my bad. I don't hate it. I even played the Pidgeot V over the Rodon, which I guess if you're playing the TM Evo, you kind of have to. Well, there was a Lost Zone at Charizard EX deck in day 2. This is a deck that was kind of getting a little bit of attention because it did have a good placement in a turn. You got, like, what, top 8 in Stuttgart. So it is cool to see somebody at least get day 2 with it. It didn't do as well as I thought it would. Like, I thought a few more people maybe would have played it, but I don't know. Maybe the meta wasn't as right for it, I guess. Maybe. Could have been it. Could have been it. Another, ooh, that was Lost Zone Tina with an Iron Hands in the deck. There you go. See the technology. Either playing the hands or the, you're playing the Roaring Moon. Speaking of which, I spoke it into existence. We got another Tina deck. Well, that's actually, no, well, no, okay. It's like it's towards deck, but it's not playing Kyogre, it looks like. It's just kind of opting for just the main attackers being Tina, Hands, Moon, not playing the Kyogre. So it's basically the towards 60. It's kind of funny. I was like, ooh, I'm talking about Tina, Hands, Moon, and then the next deck happened to be that. Another Roaring Moon Sablezard deck here. We got another Entei Valiant here in day 2. We got more Guardy. Playing the Drifloon. Ooh, a lot of technology going on. Playing TM Evo, Cape, Booster Capsule. Interesting. I guess Luxurious Cape Drifloon is a lot stronger too, to be fair. That's interesting. Got another Tina in day 2. Playing TM Devo in the deck. Wow, I just saw that. There's a Peony Miraidon here. This one does have a bit more draw, though. It's got Arvins and Research. Not as relying heavily on the Peony. It's not playing Mew EX in the deck either, so I guess you can't really rely on the Peony as much. More Guardy playing Triple Reversal. Another Charizard here. Then we got another Guardy. Lots of them. Again, a lot of Charizard. Once again, 1/1 Toedscruel. So, not bad against Roaring Moon. This actually isn't terrible into the Lost Zone Roaring Moon decks. Mainly because you're able to prevent Frenzy Gouging. You're not able to start Requiem, though, if there's a path in play. That's the downside of playing Toedscruel. As you're playing Toedscruel, you don't have to play Jirachi. As you see, this build does not play the Jirachi in the deck. That's cool to see, though. Yeah, the Toedscruel EX technology, the spice is real. The spice is real. Another Shempao. There's 2 Shempao in day 2. Like I said, I figured there's going to be a couple in day 2. Obviously, it didn't have like the greatest performance in day 2, but there were still a couple in day 2 regardless. Another Sablezard. Looks like the one from Stuttgart. Another Snorlax. Stall deck. Ooh, this one's a bit different. It's got a lot more attackers in the deck. It's playing stuff like Indeedee, which basically does a ton of damage for each card in your hand. Snorlax tends to just build up a giant hand. You can like come in and knock something out. Regieleki gets the trainer back for your discard, and Bouffalant can remove energy on your opponent's active if they're trying to attack you. So definitely a really cool Snorlax 60 here. We got another Lugia in day 2. There's 2 Lugias in day 2. Both Lugia builds were the Vessel build with the Iron Hands and the Radiant Charizard. So that's cool to see Lugia still kind of finding some placements here within day 2. Got another Tina Roaring Moon, and there was a Klawf in day 2. First Klawf we're looking at here. Surprisingly enough, Klawf definitely could have had a better run this weekend, again, with all the Charizard and Miraidon. It was the 2 most popular decks in the room. It's crazy, we were only looking at 1 Klawf deck right now. But maybe Klawf had a better run day 1, and then in day 2, it's like kind of just flopped because maybe the meta just wasn't right for it. Maybe that could have been it. Rapid Strike. Oh, man. Another Klawf. 2 Klawfs in day 2. Exciting to see. This one not playing at the Bibarel, though. We got a couple Lost Box decks. This one is the Tord Lost Box deck. We see a Tord Lost Zone deck in day 2. Cool to see. And that's kind of the second one. The one we looked at earlier was similar. But it's cool to see still one making it. We got, ooh, spicy. We got a Kyogre Lost Zone deck with a Groudon Iron Hands Moon. So playing the Paradox package, but also playing the one of Groudon in the deck. Again, can be good against Iron Hands. Can be good against, good against a lot of stuff. Again, 240 damage out of nowhere. Can be pretty cool. And the best part about the deck, you're playing both Kyogre and Groudon in the same deck. Why not, bro? Why not, right? It's cool stuff. Another Miraidon. We got another Kyogre Lost Zone deck. Looks like, again, it's a Tord 60. Yeah, looks like it's Tord 60 here. Or similar to Tord 60 anyways. I don't think it was the exact 60. Another Fusion Mew with the TM Devo. There you go. TM Devo technology, baby. We got another Lost Tina. Another Zard. A lot of them. Haha. Surprise, surprise. Got Rapid Strike. Got Zard. All right, well, let's click through those real quick. We got an Entei Valiant. Again, not as many in day 2, but again, it wasn't the worst call for the tourney, obviously. Just wasn't able to really perform as well as it could have. More Fusion Mew with TM Devo. Another Guardy. with triple reversal energy, once again trying to capitalize on that. And then there was another super effective glasses lost box in day 2. Really cool deck. Surprising to see it do well, and it's cool to see nonetheless. All right, we're almost done here. We just got a bunch of Zards to kind of look over here real quick. Got some Zards, some Rapid Strike. Yeah, we got another Zard. And at the bottom is more Tina, Rapid Strike, and Zard. This is Tina with Iron Hands. The technology is real. Another Tina. And then we got another Tina. And then, of course, we'll end it off. We might as well just click on all of them. Why not at this point? More Zards. More Zards. And then finally, got Rapid Strike. And there you go. That is the entirety of day 2. So the big development was Charizard was the best deck in the format. And was the best deck in the room. There was a lot of Charizard, but we did see some cool technology stuff. Again, Jake Gearhart with the Deoxys V-Star, Regigigas and Deoxys in day 2, crazy stuff. But overall, definitely a really interesting turnout. I think going forward, we're definitely going to have to look at kind of countering Zard more, because I think Zard is now like the BDIF going into the next big regionals. Of course, Miraidon did have a decent performance with the Peony build. We saw a lot of Mew doing good. We got Snorlax doing good. The Pidgeot Snorlax now potentially being the way that we might see Snorlax being played going forward. We see Palkia top 4. Definitely some cool stuff happened at this tournament. Again, the largest regional of all time. And yeah, thanks for watching the video. I'll leave a link down below to Limitless. If you want to go check out the list yourself, maybe build one on PCG Live and play it yourself. You want to kind of get a feel of any of the lists that you're interested in. And that'll be for me. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like. If you're new to the channel, subscribe down below. Once again, help me on the road to reaching 10,000 subs. Thank you all once again for all the support on the content. Anyone who did come up to me at San Antonio and said hi. Now, that'll be it for me. I hope you'll see you all on another video here on the second channel, and I'll see you all later. Bye-bye.